Welcome to A Perspective. I'm your host, Ivan Williams. Today we have Josh, we have Kendra, we have Angela, and we have Kenda. Today we're going to talk about just men in general and how to recognize what you view as a real man or a man that is, good by your standards. So, ladies, I want to start with you first, Kenda and Kendra. What aspects, I know, and, we all know that the first man, you look to is your father, but how do you differentiate that from, let me run that back. How do you differentiate that from, your father to someone that you want to be in a relationship with or marry? So how are you able to distinguish the qualities that you find attractive in a man? And I'll let whoever want to start first. You can go ahead and go.
I'll go.
Okay, Kevin.
So my parents were married for quite some time before they got a divorce, and before that, I was young, so I wasn't really looking for intricate things of what I saw fit as what I wanted to be with. But I saw my mother's reaction. That was my first identity to what a man is supposed to do and how she reacts and what he's not supposed to do. I would say I got more reaction of what I shouldn't be wanting than what I should want.
But so you got your don'ts more than your do's.
I got my don'ts more than my do's. But what I will say is I grew up, fortunately, in an area where there were a lot of black marriages.
Okay.
And then I also grew up in private Catholic school where there was a lot of cultural things and different marriages. And I saw a lot of what I wanted and how a man was supposed to treat a woman. And then it became, especially in high school, of what was right and what was wrong. And even though there's this perception of a woman can't teach a young lady what a man is supposed to have, my mother did a very good job of, hey, this isn't what you should want. This is what you should want, and this is what your father did. Even though he wasn't here, this is something that you should expect. And like we were talking before this segment started, etiquette. You know what I'm saying? A man is supposed to do certain things. If he's a good man, he's going to do this, this, and this, and this. Not because it's the right thing to do, but this is just something that a man is supposed to do to show you that you are his queen or princess or whatever. So, and that was my first.
And what was your, and I know it's hard to kind of break it down because it's so many things, but if you could pick one that's most important to you, what is the number one quality that you would need to have in a potential mate or someone that you would want to marry?
It would have to be two hand in hand, respect and loyalty.
Okay.
Because if you respect me, that goes a long way in all aspects. And loyalty, when you're loyal to me, it's just certain things you won't do and you will do for me. So. Okay.
All right, and Kendra, I'll let you answer.
Okay, so I grew up with the absentee father, so I didn't really have a father figure to kind of look up to in that sense where I know what a good man is. So mine was really like trial and error.
Okay.
What made me feel good, what didn't make me feel good, looking at other people's relationships, reading books, seeing like the Cosby Show, and things like that. I actually remember this when I was in high school. This is one guy named BJ. Now, he was always just a friend. And, of course, BJ was trying to get with me, but I was, kept in the friend zone. But he was my first example of a real guy, a real good guy. And I never really saw his qualities because I didn't have that connection with him. But he will open the door for me. Like if my shoelaces were untied, he'll tie my shoelaces.
Wow.
Different little things.
That is pretty big.
He'll take us take me out on dates and things like that. And mind you, we always stayed in the friend zone.
Why did you keep BJ in the friend zone, man?
Because that wasn't what I was looking for. I didn't have that, that connection with him. And I just didn't, it was BJ.
So it does not pay to have chivalry in high school.
Sometimes,
Chivalry. But chivalry isn't dead, though, man.
Chivalry isn't dead, but that's not, as much as women say that that's what they want, we don't want the good guys.
Yeah, you look for the bad guys, and that's what happened. So when I say trial and error, that's what happened. It was a trial and error. So I had BJ who treated me really well that I never was attracted to that way. But then I had the other guys where I was so attracted, I was so in love, and they treat me like crap.
Right.
That's how it is.
So then you start realizing, that whole cat and mouse
game.
So then when I was on a break, I decided I sat and I created a list of the kind of man that I wanted and what my criteria was. And I started reading more books on like relationships, and this is one book where it was like, he's just not into you. And they actually had a movie about it as well too. And that kind of helped me picking the good man. Okay. Or the man that I need in my life, because I know who I am as an individual, and there's certain things that might drive another man crazy or might be an argument every single day. I can't be with that kind of guy. Right. I have to, be with someone who relates to me and relates to my culture, and who is able to communicate. So if I'm in a marriage and I feel like as if you're not happy in that particular marriage, I want you to come to me. I don't want to ever be in a relationship where another person is not satisfied with being with me. And I know that it'll be something hard for us to like separate if we need to separate, but if it's the best thing for us, I'm for it. And it's kind of hard to say it, but I will definitely like to work it out. But if it's not, and we're just two different people, we've grown to be two different people, I could see us splitting ways, and I'm okay with it as well too.
All right, BJ, if you're out there, Brenda is sorry.
Oh, no, I never said that.
She used to tie her shoes. That is crazy. I've never seen a brother tie a woman's shoes. That is chivalry on the next level.
I salute it.
Yeah, that's him. Hopefully he found a nice woman.
I'm pretty sure BJ found a nice, he settled down with children. Because, I'm married now, but I think I'm going to go home and tie my wife's shoes. I'm going to see what kind of
step it up a little bit. Step it up a little bit.
Like he said, the little things, like when a man knows to get up when a woman is getting ready to go to the table, like you be like, oh my God, you got manners. So
yeah, it's like
oh my God,
open up the car door.
Don't do that.
What you doing? But you know what? Those things should be like customary to like everyday life. For my situation was a tribe raises a young man. My dad unfortunately passed away when I was at a young age, but the lesson that my dad taught me, and then the people that as I've grown older, I've learned and grasped things from. So, I can never say that my dad was just the one that taught me everything, because unfortunately his life was cut at a certain point where I had to figure out what I liked and learn from a lot of my friends and peers, and even just people that I've always looked up to. And, that's what's molded me. But one thing about it in common is we all share a common thing. Like I like when I see my friends, we open our doors. Like we open our doors for young ladies. We when we go out, we doing tabs. Like, but you also hold a certain standard. Which is why myself and Angelo even friends. Like I respect things that he does as an individual and as a man, and that I would say, those are the same type of values and morals that I was brought on, and things that I've grasped as I've gotten older, that I want to be able to put into my relationship, and with not only with my future spouse, but also with the people that are around me, whether it be my mother, whether it be even just a young lady that's with us that day. Like I want you to know when you're around us, this is a real.
This is what a man.
This is what a man does.
Right.
A man is supposed to open that door. A man, you know what I'm saying? Let me help you.
But Josh, where did you learn it from? Where did you learn to open a woman's door, to stand up when she leaves the table? Where did you learn those particular actions from? Was it from movies? Was it from elders? Was it
from elders? Okay. From elders, from my dad, and my godfather. He good individual in some aspects, and the aspect of the manners. You know what I'm saying? One thing I learned from him is always opening up a car door, always opening up the door for the young lady. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the person, that's the queen, that's the individual. If it's a female in your life. And I watch things like that. I'm very observant, like, with anybody that I'm around, especially that I respect. I'm observant because I like to know how you operate. Yeah, and because we can all learn from each other at the end of the day. And that's something that I will always take with me, is always opening up doors, always executing things like that, because there's a lot of guys, like we said earlier, or a lot of boys that want to be men that are doing those things. I was in a barbershop yesterday, and I want to say it even in that segment, and I watched a guy sit in a car, bro, while the girl pumped gas, and you know how bad I wanted to step outside, bro, and tell you, bro, that you like you said, bro, you a hoe, bro, you a hoe for that, like, cause this girl sitting out here, she's putting her hands on that gas pump, and you got the audacity to sit in that car,
right?
Like my daddy, like I know my dad, bro, would give me hell if I did something.
And I think it's just one of those things. Angela, I want to come to you as well because I know you haven't had a chance to speak yet. In regards, like, okay, so how did you learn? Because I know you said, I mean, if I can say this, you were saying that your father, he tried to get you with a prostitute when you was 14. So when it's kind of like, where did you learn?
I'm gonna put it like this: my daddy he won't shit when I was coming up, but like he was everything that I needed. All the shit that I learned from him was the shit that I learned not to do. And like it took, failed relationships. It took watching my mama get treated by niggas, a different way.
Right.
And I didn't like how she felt when she was treated by, niggas a certain way. And I realized like I need to do something better. So I'm the oldest of 5 children, 4 half siblings. I'm the only one with 2, mom and daddy. But like, watching how my mama dated, how my dad did his thing, and how the people they were with, like how they felt, the end result of things. And I decided, I don't want to be no dog ass nigga. I went and got an etiquette class, paid for it myself out of my own money in college. Learn how to set tables, learn how to stand up when the woman leaves.
You invested in yourself.
Right, because I wasn't trying to be no slouch. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was one thing being a frat boy and watching how, you get stereotyped and categorized, and it was another being an actual man in front of these women. Like, at least trying to be a man and do the right thing. And so I learned based on watching, 1, how my mama reacted to how she was treated, and then 2, how my dad made other women feel. And like, it was like, okay, well, this is wrong, and that's also wrong. And so if I could figure out the happy medium, how I can make this into right and be something different, then that's what I did. So, it's crazy when you go out on a date, when I got an old lady, so I ain't dating. But when I was going on dates, so even with my old lady, like she would comment on it a lot, like you always stand up when you leave the table, or when I leave the table, and when I come out you stand up, and when you do this and you do that. And to me, I took the class back when I was like 21, but I never lost none of that shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I held on
Plus
to
practice
that
makes perfect.
because I learned that most of these boys, niggas, niggas that are boys are trying to front like they men. They don't actually like pay attention to women. Like make a woman feel a certain kind of way, engage with them and shit like that.
Right.
And that's what I care more about. I got a bag. I can buy you shit that you want, but I'd rather like focus in on what you're telling me, and actually actively respond to what you're saying.
And that's where the growth of the relationship actually comes from. Is from that. And I also wanted to add to what you were saying, Angelo. There's lessons in failure. Lessons in failure.
Those are the best lessons.
Best
lessons. I think
next to bought lessons.
Life teaches you things like that. Like life taught me going through relationships in my 20s, and wanting to be like, man, you know what, man, I ain't trying to be in a relationship at all. So like, bro, I always in the back of my head, like, bro, this ain't what I wanted to eventually be. But right now, I have to learn these lessons as well through life too. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's gonna take trial and error through that.
I'm gonna say this:
it's growth.
It's one thing to be able to buy a woman anything she want, and it's another thing to make her feel things that she never felt.
That's gonna carry a long time.
Remember, even if she's not with you, those are things that she'll carry to the next relationship, or even when she get married.
That bag don't mean shit if she don't remember how she felt when she got that.
But there's a difference between there's a dollar value and there's the value of a man and what he can do for a woman emotionally. Because women, we run on emotions. So if we can feel special, that's gonna carry you a whole nother level of that respect and love you're going to get from her. But then, like you said, you invested in yourself with the etiquette class. it wasn't really, from my knowledge, is yeah, a man is supposed to do certain things for a woman, and but it's not really praised like a woman is supposed to be domestic for a man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a difference, because I get a kick out of being able to be like, you know what, y'all go ahead, I'll go and fix the table for y'all, or let me do this and let me do that. Like we get a joy and a rise out of that as men. It's like, ugh. To this day, with these men, it's like, what you mean I gotta open up the door?
Right.
And these
boys,
boys,
they gotta go.
you know what I mean? There
Right.
isn't a royalty and a hierarchy of, let me make sure she feels good about herself.
Right.
Like a
I'm
woman.
downtown, so if y'all need some classes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, so on that note, another great topic. We would definitely, like to know what you think. Thank you for tuning in to A Perspective. I'm your host, Ivor Williams. Until the next time.